Hey guys, today I've got a video for you on the shoulder and the upper arm and some ideas about how to work with a lot of the dysfunctions that could come up in that area. And in the meantime, I want to remind you really quickly to support a small business. And guess whose small business I think you should support? Mine! So give my body butter a try. It's fantastic and it's the best product for deep tissue out there, chemical free, homemade, all natural. Head over to my website. I will include the link in the description below. Okay, I'm going to start my work with a nice general shoulder squeeze. I'm taking my right hand, sliding it underneath the scapula, and using my left palm and compressing into the upper pecs. And I'm using both hands to squeeze pretty evenly, kind of opening up the shoulder capsule and making sure that you guys really need to look through my hair to see the work there that I'm doing, because I know that you really wanted to look at my hair and not the work. Hair aside, I'm really just warming up the shoulder, which I feel like most of us know how to do, and these techniques are just some of my favorites. I want to make sure I'm focusing on the deltoids, and as I bring the arm into slight medial rotation, it allows me to really palm through the biceps and the deeper structures of the upper arm, but I want to make sure that I'm doing lots of myofascial release here. So with this technique, I'm focusing on my little palms underneath my thumbs, my thenar eminence. I'm not using my thumb digits per se. I'm keeping this nice and broad and allowing that burn and that stretch to open things up within the upper arm and the shoulder. I think one of the most valuable assets about a massage, as opposed to physical therapy or any other traditional Western body work, is that we connect the parts of the body to itself. So I really like to focus on connecting the lower arm to the upper arm, to the shoulder, through the shoulder, and up into the neck. And so a lot of my transition strokes, like you just saw, are going to have the purpose of connection. Getting back to the biceps, this is a really great position to do a pin and stretch. So as I sink down with my palm, I'm really making sure that I extend the elbow out, and that lengthens this, but I can twist the wrist a little bit in and out and make sure that I'm getting all the different fibers, and then even coming from a different angle. So here I'm coming from a more superior position and pushing the biceps down, but also medially as I use my left hand to do a slight twist with the wrist. As the biceps come down and insert into the radius and that aponeurosis of the bicipital tendon, it's going to pull the forearm into supination. So I can manipulate the movement of the biceps with my left hand as I use my right hand to sink in as these fibers are moving around. When I lay the arm back down, I want to make sure that I encourage the pecs to also release the arm. So I've just done all this nice work on the biceps, and I'm just going to encourage the pecs to work alongside with what I've just done. So I'm sinking with both my palm and then my forearm. I'm really compressing inferiorly and laterally so that the entire structure of the shoulder and the arm is pushed down and away from this normal position of being rounded forward. And I love to follow that down all the way through the forearm because, you know, connection. As I bring the arm up above the head, I want to make sure I address something that I feel like happens to me a lot when I'm on the massage table, and I see a lot of massage therapists do it. When we bring the arm up, we sometimes lay the arm flat on the table, and a lot of people can't do that. And even if we can, even if clients can do that, it really compresses the suprascapular nerve and the supraspinatus muscle. And so we want to make sure that we leave a lot of space in that area. So I use my knee here a lot. I just place the arm right on my knee. You can use a bolster and just make sure that the arm isn't flat all the way back. I just a little quick work with the biceps and the triceps there, and then what I want to do is create a lot of space in that area, very specifically on that superior part of the joint capsule, and allowing the space in here to actually have some breathing room. My focus here is geared towards the top part of the deltoids and the AC joint. So as I grab underneath from the deltoids in this position, I'm using my fingertips to kind of cup under the top of the deltoids and pull them towards me, and allowing the shoulder to push forward towards the armpit. So I'm using my fingers to push up, and I'm supporting the axillary area with my thumbs into the muscle tissue, not quite into the glands and the nerves that are in there, but making sure that I'm pulling up and away and not compromising anything, so that any nerve impingement that's in there, any kind of stuck capsule, any kind of adhesions that are in there are going to start to get broken up, and the shoulder is going to find a lot more blood flow, a lot more nerve flow, and a lot more lymph flow. I find that some passive movement in the joint itself is helpful after a lot of this deeper work, so I push down to soften the muscles, and then I'll pull back out to stretch everything out. While I'm in this position, I'm going to stretch the arm out and allow a lot of connection through the arm, through the shoulders, through the lats, through the teres, all the way down into the ribs. And when I do this, I want to make sure that my hand is very clearly underneath the client's body, and the back of my hand is actually touching the table. This allows for a lot of clarity from me and for the client that the work is about the connection, about working through and stretching out these muscles, and not anything else. While I'm in here, I'm going to make sure I use my thumb a little bit to enhance that lateral border of the scapula and sculpt around the teres major, the teres minor, and the lats. And then when I'm finished with all of that, tuck my client back in and pull the arm superiorly, and then lean over to the opposite side, allowing for a nice deep stretch. After doing a lot of work like that, where I've really kind of dug in and stretched out the shoulder, when I put it back down to a neutral position, I like to give the entire arm a shake and a jostle, and that just kind of takes everything in the shoulder and sets it right back into place. One of the more common things that has shown up in my practice is pain in the shoulder that is either frozen shoulder related or bicipital tendon related, where there's this anterior pain in the shoulder that is really hard to reach, kind of hard to explain, slow onset, and deep, pretty hard to pinpoint. And so I've created a lot of work around this pain, around this dysfunction that has shown up, and I want to demonstrate some of the work that I do with this. I started my work by really warming up the deltoids, and now I've got her arm positioned out. I've tractioned through the shoulder to open it up a little bit, and now I'm sinking into the bicep tendon, to the attachment of the lats, the attachment of the pecs, the attachment of the teres major, and I'm using my left hand holding onto her hand and positioning the arm so it's medially rotating as I sink in. So I'm shortening those attachment sites and allowing the biceps to soften and creating some deep opening within those taut muscles. I've repositioned my thumb now out on the lateral aspect of the bicep tendon and hitting more of the deltoids and pec attachment site a little bit more broadly, and using my left hand to passively laterally rotate her arm so that these fibers roll underneath my thumb, and I'm sinking in and finding all those points around the cords of all these tendons and bony attachment sites that are worn down and tired. By no means do I think that soft tissue work is the end-all be-all, and I definitely believe that the solution to frozen shoulder and the solution to tendonitis is a shift in lots of things. But within the scope of what we do, this has been really effective. And as I sink in here with my thumb and extend the arm down now, straightening the arm out, lengthening out these tissues, I'm asking my client to visualize the shoulder capsule, the entire joint, finding some breath, finding some air, and allowing all of this tension and all of these stuck tissues to release and to let go. I definitely feel like our actions throughout the day, holding purses, holding bags, reaching in the back seat to grab something, and all of the tension that we have contributes to this. This body work can help break it up, but it's also got to come from the client really wanting it to feel open. Either in addition to or instead of that more specific work, coming from a broader perspective, I'm going to allow my client's arm to be a little bit abducted, and I'm going to place her arm on my thigh. You can definitely use a bolster here, but I want to allow the arm not to fall too much into medial rotation so that the joint feels nice and supported. From here, I really want to grab the anterior deltoids, the medial deltoids, the upper traps, the pecs, the biceps, and start to pull all of that musculature as a chunk away from the underlying structures. As I do this, I'm inviting in more air, I'm inviting in more blood, and I'm giving this joint the space that it's asking for. From here, I want to bring the focus away from the shoulder itself and start to address the biceps a little bit more, so I'm going to ask them to work. As I shorten my client's biceps, I flex her elbow. I'm going to compress down into the biceps and ask her to contract this muscle. So I'm going to pull her wrist towards her shoulder as I sink down, and then as she loosens it up, I really press up and through the shoulder and lengthen up those muscles and push everything up towards the shoulder. So everything's starting to feel like it is actually connected and working together. On a quick side note, I just want to say that when you ask a client to engage a muscle during a massage, it just brings a new depth, it brings a new complexity, and it really starts to heal things on such a deeper level. There's so much work that we can do on the upper traps, and I will include a link in the description below for more of that, but for now, I'm hooking my client's hand down and pulling down towards their feet as I use my fingers to press into the traps and lengthen through that tissue and just pull everything back into place. Like I mentioned in the beginning, I think one of the big benefits that we have as massage therapists is that we spend so much time with our clients. It's not just a 15-minute check-in and see you later, but we help our client feel connected. So connect the hand to the wrist, to the elbow, to the upper arm, through the shoulder, up into the neck. I love using my entire forearm for this. I'm not doing anything with my hand here, just sliding my forearm underneath my client's neck. From here, I know you can't see what's happening with her hand, but I'm allowing her forearm to flop over my hands, and then as I pull her shoulder up off the table, I'm squeezing through her forearm like a tube of toothpaste all the way up to her hand. And as I pull her scapula away and then lay her arm down, most clients here comment that that's one of their favorite moves. Hey, if you guys have any questions or comments or ideas about what you want to see, leave them in the comments below. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. Check out my website. The link is in the description below.